Have you ever wondered if there's a blueprint for, well, you? For what makes you tick? Today, we're going to talk about exactly that, your personality, and more importantly, how you can actually become the architect of your own growth. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's just start with a really big question, and I want you to actually think about this for a sec. What makes you, you? I mean, everything, your habits, your sense of humor, even your fears. Where does all that stuff come from? And here's the kicker. How much of it do you really have control over? All right, before we go any further, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What even is personality? Well, here's a solid definition. It's that unique mix of mental traits, right? The patterns of thought and emotion that make us do and say things in certain ways. Basically, it's the why behind everything we do. So that's the what. Now for the how. Where do all these patterns even come from? We're about to dig into the raw materials, the fundamental building blocks that come together to shape the person you are right now. And wow, there's a lot that goes into the mix. You can kind of group these 9 factors into 3 big buckets. First, there's the stuff you're born with, your genetics, right? Then you've got everything you experience, your environment, your schooling, all those life events. And finally, you have your own internal world, things like your values, your dreams, your self-image. It's this whole complex cocktail of influences that creates your unique starting point. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. Look at that list again. A lot of those things are stuff that just happens to you, right? But there's one on that list that's completely different. It's the game changer. It's the one that puts you in the driver's seat. And this slide really breaks it all down. On one hand, you've got what you're given, your genes, your upbringing. You don't get a say in that. But on the other hand, you have what you can choose. And that choice, it's self-development. This is where your power lies. This is the part where you get to actively shape who you want to become. Okay, so if self-development is the answer, what does that actually mean? What does it look like in real life? Well, it's not just some fuzzy, abstract concept. It's a very real, very practical set of skills. Think of it like a personal development toolkit, and we're about to open it up. Believe it or not, the World Health Organization has actually defined 10 of these core life skills. And these aren't just nice-to-haves. They're the actual abilities we need to adapt, to act positively, and to effectively handle, all the chaos and challenges life throws at us. These are your tools for building a better you. And here they are, the whole toolkit. You can see how they kind of cover 3 major areas of life, right? First, there's managing yourself. Skills like self-awareness, coping with emotions. Then there's how you think, using critical and creative thinking. And finally, there's how you deal with other people. Empathy, communication, that sort of thing. The best part? Every single one of these can be learned and improved. All right, so a list is great, but what do these tools actually look like when you use them? Let's zoom in on a few of the big ones from this toolkit and see how they really work day to day. First up, self-awareness. This one is huge. It's basically about understanding that there are 3 versions of you. There's the perceived self, how you see yourself, the real self, how you truly are, and the ideal self, the person you'd like to be. The whole goal is to get those 3 versions closer together, because when there's a huge gap between them, well, that's where things like unhappiness and frustration tend to show up. Okay, next up, empathy. And honestly, this quote just nails it. The ability to imagine what life is like for another person. It's so simple but so powerful. It's not about agreeing with someone, it's just about trying to understand their point of view. And I'm telling you, this one skill is the bedrock for solving problems and building solid, meaningful relationships with literally everyone. And then there's critical thinking. Now, this isn't just about being smart. It's a process. It's a habit you build. It means really analyzing information, looking at it from different angles, and always asking that one crucial question. Wait a second, is this reliable? Think of it as your own personal BS detector for everything from social media to what your friends are telling you. All right, let's talk about being creative, because I think we get this one wrong a lot. It's not about painting or writing a symphony, though it can be. At its core, it's a mindset. It's about being curious. It's about actually enjoying a good challenge. It's about questioning the way things are and sticking with it when it gets hard. And the great news is, these are all attitudes and habits that anyone, and I mean anyone, can develop. Okay, so we've looked at the raw materials that shape us, and we've opened up the toolkit you can use to build yourself. And all of this leads to one single, incredibly powerful idea.
You are not just a passenger along for the ride. You are the architect.
Look, if you take away only one thing from all this, let it be this. Your personality is not set in stone. It is not some fixed thing you're stuck with for life. It's a living, breathing, evolving process, and it's one you get to be an active part of every single day.
I really want you to let this quote sink in. It says, one remains in control/charge of molding his/her personality. No matter where you came from, no matter what's happened to you, you are in charge of shaping who you are. The power to grow, to improve, to change, that belongs to you.
So that's where we'll leave it. You have the blueprint, you have the tools. The only question left is, what are you going to build?